So I guess God said I was done answering that question.
Well, I
But
want
yeah,
to.
that's probably our biggest concern is as a family. Where how do we reconnect? What are the schools? What are the places for our family to play and visit and find as kind of our special spots
Right.
and who are those people that we'll connect with?
Well, I really appreciate your answer, and I want to say that your children are really blessed by your sensitivity, and so wherever you land, I can just sense that you're going to create that connectedness with your children, and that's, of course, very important. So, okay, now
Right.
it's now.
It's two part. Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
I'll let that be. Thank you.
okay, it's your Weena's turn.
Okay.
Hello again, Brett.
Hello, Armina.
Currently, you're serving a smaller rural community. What attracts you to a larger urban community such as Faith?
Well, I wouldn't say Puyallup rural. It began that way. We've got the state fair. We've got a few farms around, but Puyallup itself has certainly become more urbanized as we've lived here. When we moved here, there was very little south of where we are, and now it's the street that runs through it is the busiest in the state. So I'm told at rush hour. One of the moves that our church has begun to make is how to serve the homeless in our own community. It used to be, let's go into Tacoma or Seattle and see where we can serve, and now it's people are coming to our door, and how do we embrace those that are living right in our community, and so we've seen it change, and for sure in our own church location. The church that I did an internship at during my end of my study was called Urban Grace in downtown Tacoma, and I felt a real connection. I was working with the homeless, two parts: the homeless in that community, as well as the elderly in a home that is next door to the church. The church used to own, no longer does, but continues to do worship services there for the residents on Sunday nights. So what I found there was just some gifting that I maybe didn't realize I had. I've grown up in a very suburban neighborhood. I've now worked in a very suburban area for the past 20 years, and I liked the edges that God began to work on when I was in a new place, and I think going to a location that's different than what I've served is, in some ways, is what I'm looking for. I don't want the same, but something that's going to present some new challenges and some new types of people and experiences to have.
Okay.
I have an off-the-cuff question. What are all the T-shirts? What are all the T-shirts behind you?
Oh, behind me?
Yeah.
Those are our mission trip T-shirts from the years. I think we've got all 20, maybe.
Okay.
So each year we do a mission trip, and we do a rotation of a rural trip, a city trip, and a across the border trip, and so there's souvenirs.
I got it. Okay. Well, they speak loud and clear.
Here's another off-the-wall question. Do you have a favorite scripture that you like to share with teenagers?
Yeah. Well, I've got several. Jeremiah 29 comes to mind. I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to give you a future and a hope. I think that one is especially been helpful this year. Our senior high crew has been going through some very difficult. We had someone lose a dad. We've had someone go through some sexual abuse, in and out of drug rehab. One that just graduated, and I'm realizing one of the joys, however, despite those difficulties, having been in the place for 20 years, is the joy of watching God redeem some difficult situations. And so I am blessed to be able to watch these relationships and be able to come full circle and be able to say with integrity and honesty, I've seen what God can do. Be patient, and you just never know. So and watching God begin to really create very real hope through ministry through relationships they have with others, and that's been very rewarding, even though difficult at times.
Okay. You know, we're hoping to find somebody that's not using this position as a stepping stone, somebody that's in it for the long haul, and you've certainly proved that you can do that, especially, you know, at your Shepherd Hill position. So it's pretty impressive.
Well, people have asked me, you know, do you want to be a senior pastor? Is that ultimately where you're headed? And whether God takes me that direction or not is, at this point, not super important to me. I think my gifts, my interests, my own longing and joy are still geared toward youth and family. So I find myself becoming more excited and interested when I see positions like the one that you're offering. Sure.
Okay.
That's great.
John's going to wrap things up, and okay.
All right. Thanks, Rowena.
All right.
So Brett, this has really been helpful, and again, some great answers, and it's really good to, as always, put a face on these and be able to converse. What about it, you know, since we talked last, any other questions you have for us about faith or the community of Sacramento, some of the things that you were exploring or thinking about with your kids? I assume you've been researching Sacramento a little bit, but I think it probably meets a lot of the tests that you're wondering about for your family. But any questions you have for us right now that we can help you?
Maybe you can tell me now, again, just kind of face to face. There's two ways of looking at, you know, I asked the question last time. Just tell me about your youth and family ministry as it stands, and I feel like I got some good feedback about where that is. There's two ways to look at that. One, as a person coming in which you are serving that ministry in that community, and then another when you're bringing your own family into that ministry.
Right.
Maybe some insight from you or someone else that has kids or has had kids that have gone through the program. What would be your impression of if it was you or any of you on the committee of bringing your young people into that community from the outside? How would that be any different of an answer? What are some thoughts?
Well, that's a very good question, and I have 3 daughters and teenage years. That's right. The oldest is 18, graduating from high school tomorrow. And then the youngest are twins. That's right. It's pretty exciting. You guys have been here for how long? We've been here probably 7 or 8 years. The twins are freshmen in high school. Erwena's kids are teenagers and college age. Have been here for 8 years, and they've gone through the program. Rhonda's 2 boys. She has twin boys. They're going to be juniors next year. They're going to be seniors next year in high school.
I'm sorry. And we've been members at this church since I was pregnant with them. So we've kind of gone through it all. And just the type of community this is, it's funny because how old are your girls again? I forgot.
4, 9, and 13.
Okay. I've noticed lately, it's so funny, we have a whole flock of new young kids. I would say between, 2 to 10. And it's just such a welcoming, warm place for a family. I mean, I couldn't say anything negative about it.
Yeah. I really think that right now the children's ministry part, from the very young to, say, 6th grade, the youth pastor supports that, but we also have a director of children's ministry and a very engaged team. So there's probably been...
Full-time, part-time?
No, part-time. Part-time.
Yeah, right.
But that, and also a really good lay team also around her to help support that. So, that has not had really any interruption. It's really been the middle school, high school program in this year, a little over a year now, because our youth pastor, who was formerly with us, also had been on maternity leave before that, and then he had sabbatical. So really probably 18 months. The team, the lay team around that have really come in and support, but that area is probably needing the most direct connection and support along with the family ministry. But it is, as Rhonda described, even with the younger kids, it's a very welcoming and very inviting community. And you're stepping into a ministry, whoever this pastoral candidate is, you're stepping into a ministry that is structured and developed, but there's still a lot of, if you will, the detail to continue to be flushed out. So there's creative opportunity about, bringing, there's, new ideas. There's some structural elements that we've started with, but really a lot more that is to be fleshed out over the years. And hopefully that's the exciting part for someone coming in here, is it's not, you don't have to step into the way things have been done for the last 20 years. And in fact, we're in the midst of a couple of years into some change that we've already seen, and for the better, but more changes to come. So a really, collaborative place, open place, supportive place. And again, especially on the youth side, a really an influx. And this is also the year of many pregnancies too, and births. So there's a lot more youth in the pipeline.
Sure.
But it's a real, it's a place that I would absolutely encourage and do families to come.
Can I add something, John?
Yeah.
Brett.
Thank you.
Hi, Brett. This is Erwina again. I've got a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 15-year-old, and we've been in a group, a family home group, for 2 years now. I think that's the longest running group. And I think that your question partly is how will your girls get connected in this already established community? And
Sure, and there's no way to know for sure, but just a sense.
right. Our group, and again, I think if someone stepped in and wanted to change things around to, I don't know,